What's good, fam? Heyo, it's Teacher Ready with a live stream. And I got somebody who wants to say a quick hello here.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, it's
Hey.
Jacob.
Hey.
Hey. Alright. See ya. Yes, we will enjoy ourselves. Hey, we already got people in the chat here. Noah Ocean, Riley King. What's up? Suck Deep Sandhu. Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Tom Hanks, Christian Bale better be yes. No debate. Well, I'm gonna have a debate for you on that one. Alright, so Noah Ocean, teacher ready? Greater than any other history teachers. Oh man, I really appreciate that. That's awesome of you, bro. So what are we doing today? We are doing right here. We're doing our greatest actors and actresses of all time. So the way I set it up here is the top category is Supernova. Supernova is like super S tier. It's for people who are way beyond S tier level. We'll see who that's going to be. Then we have our S tiers, which are superstars. Then we have our movie stars. These are people who are really solid. I'll explain what my criteria is going to be, but longevity, types of movies, how good were the movies, versatility of the actor is going to be a big deal as well. Nothing personal. I don't care about gossip or any of that stuff. Jacob tries to talk to me about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. I have no clue what the hell's going on with them. So, like I said, I'm totally not into gossip. I'm not going to be judging people based on, their private lives, any scandals, all that stuff. That doesn't matter to me. I'm judging people just on their acting. That's it. So their versatility as actors, the amount of movies that they've been in, the longevity, how great were the movies that they were in, so on and so forth. After movie star, we have star. So basically, that's like sixth man. That's like a bench player. That's like in movies you have that. Oh, that guy, right? You've seen him or her in a million movies and TV shows, but you have no clue what their name is. But you're like, oh, that guy. Yeah, of course. So a star is like a that guy. A falling star is somebody who maybe was a one-hit wonder, maybe had a nice string for a year or two, but then just burnt out. And they should not be considered like a star or a movie star or anything else. Then we just have the flat out, why are you here? This happens on some lists. I get one or two. Like you don't even belong here. And then we have the who? Huh? Who? It might be possible I may not recognize some of these actors and actresses, so that's where you're going to come in. You're going to have to help me out. If I don't recognize, I did not create this list. This list was created by somebody else, so I don't know all of the actors and actresses. I want to be just as surprised as you are, so I have not gone through this list. So there may be a couple that, I miss here and there. I'm really well versed in movies, so the older, silent movies from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, any decade. So I should be good for the most part. So those are the categories. That's the criteria. Chat is booming. Let's get into it. Tommy Wiseau from The Room is number one. No. Hell no. Okay, so first, okay, I know this guy. Hey, it's that guy. No, it's the guy from X-Men. What's his name? Come on, the guy from what was it? That M. Night Shyamalan movie. Come on, help me out, guys. But he is. I mean, he's been in some. I think it's James McAvoy. Is it James McAvoy? I think that's his name. James McAvoy, I mean, he's been in some good movies. He's pretty decent. Still, not deep in his career, I would say. I don't think he's hit a peak yet. I would put him at. I mean, he's not a that guy. I'll put him at movie star. I think he's a movie star. Um, yes. Okay. The View withdrew James McAvoy, so I was correct. Next, we have Cillian Murphy. Now, Cillian Murphy is awesome. Cillian Murphy is awesome, but he's really good mainly on Peaky Blinders. If you haven't seen, oh, and I should probably do like my favorite movie for each of these actors and actresses. So for James McAvoy, I really enjoyed him as Professor Charles Xavier in the X-Men movies, especially the first one, First Class. I thought he was excellent in that movie and did Sir Patrick Stewart, proud for playing Professor X. Cillian Murphy, for me, it's definitely Peaky Blinders, but that's a TV show. As far as movies go, I mean, mainly I remember him as Scarecrow in Christopher Nolan's Batman movies. I see him more of as a TV star, but he's very talented. So I'm not going to put him at star. I'll put him at movie star, but barely. Humphrey Bogart. Now, Humphrey Bogart, bias here, is my favorite actor of all time. For me, it's a tough choice. What is my favorite Humphrey Bogart movie? It's probably Casablanca with Maltese Falcon as like a 1B. For me, without a doubt, Bogart is a supernova. Bogart is one of the greatest actors of all time. He had that it factor. He could do funny. He could do serious. He could do angry. He could be a killer in one movie. He could be a funny guy in another movie. He could be a really smart detective in the next movie. So Bogart, definitely supernova for me. Let's see. Next, we have Dustin Hoffman. Obviously a legend as well. Now, Dustin Hoffman for me is interesting because I put him in that category of, 70s method actors who came out of the actor's studio, who studied the Stanislavski method. So it's like Paul Newman, Dustin Hoffman, though Newman is a little closer towards the 50s and 60s. He came earlier. But definitely Pacino, De Niro, like that class. But for some reason, Dustin Hoffman just kind of got market corrected in his career. And I think it's because he was never able to make it as a supporting star. Like Robert De Niro was able to, for a while, just be a supporting character in movies, especially in the 80s, in the 90s, and then beyond. He didn't have to be the star. Same thing with Al Pacino. Same thing even with Paul Newman. But for some reason, like Dustin Hoffman, he kind of died out. But he's still, that keeps him out of Supernova, but he's still a superstar. My favorite Dustin Hoffman movie, I mean, it has to be The Graduate. The Graduate is just a classic. Next, we have Fred Astaire. Now, Fred Astaire, amazing entertainer. But again, we're talking about actor and acting ability. He's not a falling star. He's not a... I mean, is he a star? I mean, for me, I just want to... He was not a good actor. Fred Astaire is a legend as an entertainer, as a dancer, but he's an entertainer who was not a good actor. So for me, it's I don't think he belongs on this list. But again, this is all just my opinion. You can agree with me, you can disagree with me. It's up to you, y'all. Let's see here. Who's next? Denzel Washington. Now, Denzel has probably had one of the greatest runs an actor ever had, going back to the 80s. I mean, what decade has Denzel not been in at least, 6, 7, 10 great movies a decade? My favorite Denzel movie, I mean, it's a toss-up between Malcolm X and Training Day. Pick one. Two-time Oscar winner. Best Supporting Actor for Glory. Best Actor for Training Day. I mean, Denzel is a supernova for me. He's one of the greatest living actors that we have in my generation and pretty much any generation. Next, we have here Frederick March. Is it Mark or March? I forget. I don't know. It's spelled March. Let's call him Frederick March. My favorite Frederick March movie, probably Inherit the Wind. I think he was in that. Was he? I got my trusty IMDb up. Let's see. Frederick. That's not how you spell it. Oh, Frederick. Frederick March. Didn't I just press enter? What's going on? Hurry up. But Frederick March, really good actor. Yeah, Inherit the Wind. Inherit the Wind is a great movie if you haven't seen it. It's about the Scopes monkey trial, where a teacher was brought up for trial for teaching evolution, Darwinism, in class. And this is based, like it says here, based on a real life case from 1925. And it's Frederick March and Spencer Tracy. Also, it's got a great supporting cast. You got Gene Kelly, Dick York, Harry Morgan, so on and so forth. So if you've not seen it, I definitely recommend it. Some other great movies with Frederick March, of course, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, although kind of cheesy, doesn't really live up. 7 Days in May is a great movie, and The Best Years of Our Lives is a classic World War II movie, way ahead of its time. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. Frederick March, definitely a movie star. He's a movie star. Not a superstar, although he's close. Let's see who agrees with me. Cash Black, Denzel is fantastic. Absolutely. Let's see. Jacob David, my son. Tom Hanks, no debate. Supernova. We'll see. Angelina Jolie. I mean, she doesn't have a great range as an actress. She hasn't really, I mean, maybe in her early career where she played that model who died of a drug overdose. I forget the name of the movie. It was an HBO movie. I mean, she was okay in that. I mean, she's okay. I'll put her as a star. My favorite Angelina Jolie movie? Oofa. I'll get back to you on that one. Let's see. Oh, Daniel Day-Lewis. Okay, is there any argument? Do I even have to explain myself while Daniel Day-Lewis is a supernova? Daniel Day-Lewis, I mean, he's retired now. Gia. Thank you, Noah Ocean. Gia, that's right. That's the movie that Angelina Jolie was in back in the 90s. I mean, she was good in it. But Daniel Day-Lewis, I mean, my favorite Daniel Day-Lewis, probably There Will Be Blood. He was fantastic in that. My favorite character, though, that he played is definitely Bill the Butcher from Martin Scorsese's Gangs of New York. But the movie was just not good. But, I mean, Daniel Day-Lewis should have gotten a 4th Oscar for that. 3-time Oscar winner, My Left Foot, There Will Be Blood. And what was the third one? I think he won for Lincoln, right? Elena G! What's up, Elena G? Thank you for the $9.99. Let's round it up to 10. Thank you for the $10 donation. Appreciate it so much. Love you, Elena G. But yeah, I mean, it's Daniel Day-Lewis, probably the greatest like actor of all time. I mean, he's not my favorite actor of all time, but I mean, from a technical perspective, you talk about range, you talk about longevity. Uh, I mean, and the ability to choose roles. I mean, did he even like do like 20 movies? Like, how many movies did Daniel Day Lewis do? It wasn't that many. Let's see here. But My Left Foot, I think, came out in the late 80s. But let's see, 30 credits, but that doesn't mean he's done 30 movies. Like, this is just a video short. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I've never heard of this. 12, 13. And these were all like supporting roles. So really, I mean, he's done 13 movies and he won 3 Oscars. I mean, what else can you say about him? And the ability to wait. I mean, look at it, he did 2 movies in 93, but then the next one was 96, 97, and 5 years later, 3 years, 2 years, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Uh, I mean, Daniel Day-Lewis, what else are you going to say? Let's see here. Sir Anthony Hopkins. Definitely Silence of the Lambs. I mean, Hannibal Lecter. It's the movie that made him. Where would I put him? I mean, gotta go superstar. I mean, it's Anthony Hopkins. Amazing actor. Just won, I think he won the Oscar, was it last year? For Best Actor. Definitely superstar. Silence of the Lambs, definitely my favorite movie that he's done. Let's see. Susan Sarandon. I love Susan Sarandon. She is amazing. My favorite Susan Sarandon movie, probably Thelma and Louise. I mean, just great movie. Debut for Brad Pitt. Gina Davis, kind of at her peak there. It's around the same time she does A League of Her Own. I think that was like her zenith. Susan Sarandon, definitely movie star. Also loved her in Bull Durham. Brad Pitt. Say what you want about Brad Pitt, but Brad Pitt is an amazing actor, and he's just gotten better and better as he's gotten older. I mean, thank God they finally gave him an Oscar, a well-deserved Oscar for that Tarantino movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Amazing actor, and the range. He could be funny. Again, like I said about Bogart, I mean, he could be, funny. He could be, I mean, he was hilarious, really, in that Tarantino movie when he needed to be. Favorite Brad Pitt? That's tough, man. That's really tough, but I really loved him in Seven. Um, The View with Drew says Fight Club. Fight Club, definitely another great performance. He has so many, though. Even going back to True Romance. He was on the screen for what, 5 minutes in that movie, but it was the most memorable 5 minutes of the movie for me, aside from Gary Oldman. Hey, is today White Boy Day? I don't know what the hell they were doing Gary Oldman in that movie, but it was fantastic. Brad Pitt is a superstar for sure. I mean, he might end up being a supernova. Um, Natalie Portman. Ooh, that's a good one. Natalie Portman. My favorite movie with Natalie Portman? I know she won the Oscar for Black Swan, but it was kind of one of those. I was actually talking to my brother Kin the other day, and we were talking about like movies that you watched once and you were like, "Hey, that's good, but I'm never gonna watch it again." You know those movies where you're like, "That's a really good movie, but I'm not even tempted to watch this movie ever again in my life." And Black Swan was one of those movies. Um, He was in Joe Black with Hopkins. Yeah, he was in Joe Black with Anthony Hopkins. Another great movie. Again, like I said, Brad Pitt has so many great movies. Um, but I definitely love Seven. Natalie Portman. I mean, she. It's almost like she has potential, but she doesn't really tap into it enough. Like you're still wait, even though she's won an Oscar. I mean, she goes from that to making that stupid Alien movie that was terrible. Uh, I'm a even though she's an Oscar winner, I get it. I just feel like she has that potential, but I don't feel she's ever like really tapped into it. I mean, she was great. Well, I would say my favorite movie was the movie that made her, and that's Leon the Professional with Jean Reno. She was amazing as a kid actress in that, but she doesn't really reach movie star for me. She's a star. She's good. You know, she's good. She aight. Now, why the hell Jane Fonda's on here? That's another why are you here for me? Aside from the fact that her last name is Fonda and her father and grandfather are among the greatest actors of all times, Jane Fonda is not a good actress. I mean, really not. I mean, maybe she was decent in something like On Golden Pond, but she doesn't belong on the list. Matt Damon. Matt Damon. Matt Damon is a fantastic actor. Between him and Affleck, I love Affleck more personally, but Matt Damon, I think, has had a better career in choosing roles than Ben Affleck has. He's definitely movie star. My favorite Matt Damon movie, probably The Martian. That's a tough. That's Tom Hanks level of acting when you have to act alone for the majority of the movie with nothing around you, no other people. So The Martian, definitely. Next, we have Edward Norton. Now, Edward Norton is the definition of a falling star. Edward Norton could have been in that Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, like the what do you call it? Like the next generation, so to speak, right? Like the evolution of the what am I trying to say? The evolution of the age group, whatever you want to call it, of the era. That's the word I was looking for. The evolution of the era of De Niro, Pacino, and those actors. Edward Norton burst on the scene in the 90s in a movie with Richard Gere called Primal Fear. If you haven't seen it, see it. When I saw that movie and I saw Ed Norton for the first time, I was like, oh my God, this is the next generation right here. He's going to be one of the greatest actors of all time. And then he rips off American History X, People versus Larry Flint, Fight Club, and then what the hell? Apparently he turns out to be someone who's extremely difficult to work with, someone who ruined the chance to be in the Marvel franchise. He could have been the Hulk, but then he got replaced with Mark Ruffalo because he was demanding script changes. He wanted to do rewrites, and he was just amazingly difficult to work with. And he hasn't done anything of note in 20 years, really. I mean, let's take a look. I'm actually interested. When was the last big movie Ed Norton was in, aside from Birdman with Michael Keaton? And I love calling him Ed Norton because it makes me think of The Honeymooners, which is my favorite TV show of all time. Edward Norton. Let's see. So let's go back here. So 96. He does Primal Fear. That's his first movie. This was some kind of video, whatever. Primal Fear. Again, amazing movie. Everyone Says I Love You was okay. People were versus Larry Flint. He was fantastic in. American History X is what made him an A-list actor. He was amazing in Rounders. Then he does Fight Club. And then after Fight Club in 99, the next decade, Death to Smoochie was really bad. The Score, which also starred Robert De Niro and Marlon Brando. De Niro, I remember De Niro saying in an interview in the 90s around the time of American History X, he was on a late night talk show and he was asked, who is this generation's greatest actor? And without trepidation, he said, Edward Norton. He's like, Edward Norton is going to be this generation's greatest actor. And I felt the same way. So The Score starred the three generations that they thought. We had Marlon Brando, Robert De Niro, and Edward Norton. Terrible movie. Death to Smoochie, that was with Robin Williams. Frida was nothing to sing home about. He was a terrible Will Graham in Red Dragon. Now, 25th Hour was a great movie. Spike Lee directed, amazing cast. Definitely great movie. Italian Job was an okay movie. Wasn't anything special. The Illusionist, I thought was okay, but it was kind of overhyped for me, but okay. The Illusionist was a good movie. The Incredible Hulk was not good. He was good, but that's where he kind of ruined it. Then he did Modern Family, The Bourne Legacy, Birdman, which he was okay in. But again, you see, like, it doesn't work out for Edward Norton. And it's a shame, because Edward Norton could have easily been superstar and potentially a supernova. But, I mean, for his run in the 90s, I'm going to put him as a movie star. But it's just such a shame. You know, it's just such a shame. Let's see. Next, we have the great Bill Murray. Now, again, most people love Bill Murray. Bill Murray is one of the most lovable people. But again, we're talking about acting. Is he a great actor? For me, Bill Murray, obviously my favorite movie growing up. I saw it in the theaters and I've loved it ever since, was Ghostbusters. He's Peter Venkman to me. I know for other generations, he's other things. I put him at a star. I mean, his acting range is pretty good. He's done serious, but his range isn't that great. And when you think of movie stars, you don't really think of Bill Murray right away, but he's definitely a star. Next, we have Bryan Cranston. Now, I don't even remember any movies that Bryan Cranston was in. I mean, Bryan Cranston for me is kind of like Cillian Murphy. He's a TV star. I mean, Breaking Bad, yeah. I mean, Mount Rushmore TV show. But what movies was he in? I mean, his credit, his top two right away are TV shows. He was in Argo, yeah, but he was good in Trumbo. But, for us, he's obviously Walter White, right? Say my name. Say my name. Come on, you want to say it. Bryan Cranston, he's not a movie star, he's a TV star. But he's a really good TV star. So I got to put him at movie star levels. I mean, TV, back in the 50s and 60s, television was seen as something that movie stars didn't do. But now you have some of the greatest stars of all time doing TV shows. So I don't think TV is as controversial as it was decades ago. So yeah, I definitely put him at movie star level. Next, we got John Travolta. Now, John Travolta had a rough patch, and then another rough patch. It's like he had a boom, skyrocketing career. He starts off on TV as Vinnie Barbarino in Welcome Back, Mr. Carter. Then he does Saturday Night Fever, and he blows up. And then he does crap movies for a while. And then he's doing stuff like Look Who's Talking. Look Who's Talking. And he has a rough patch until 1994 when he plays Vincent Vega in Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. And then he rips off a few years of good movies and then again kind of disappears. Does Battlefield Earth, which tanks his career, and ran into a lot of controversies. He was terrible in the Gotti movie. That was awful. My favorite John Travolta movie, I mean, it's tough not to say Pulp Fiction, but I got such a soft spot for Saturday Night Fever. I mean, I still got to put him as a movie star. I mean, he made iconic movies. He made Saturday Night Fever and Pulp Fiction. Just for that alone, I got to put Vinnie Barbarino as a movie star. Next, we got Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson found a second life with those Taken movies. Now he's kind of like taken over the Bruce Willis mantle of making like straight to DVD action movies. But of course, he was in Schindler's List. Can't forget Hairspray. Oh, of course, can't forget Hairspray. Can't forget Grease. Like I said, he's been in iconic movies. Liam Neeson. I mean, he was in Schindler's List, of course. That's my favorite movie of his. With Darkman, the original Darkman being a close second. He's an amazing, amazing performer. So I got to put him at movie star, definitely. Obi-Wan Kenobi himself. I still haven't watched the Obi-Wan series, but I'm excited to watch it. I mean, he's been in some good movies, definitely. I mean, also movie star. What was my favorite movie? I mean, I just loved him as Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Star Wars movie. So I'll probably say Star Wars Episode 3 is my favorite movie with him. Next, we have the legendary Martin Sheen. Favorite Martin Sheen movie? Apocalypse Now. But he'll always be President Josiah Bartlett to me. The West Wing, one of the greatest shows of all time. Love The West Wing, and he was amazing in it. Originally, he was just supposed to be in the first few episodes, and mainly the show was going to be about the White House staff. But it's Martin Sheen, and of course he knocks that out of the park, and the test audiences love him. So thankfully he became, one of the main leads of the show. Movie star, Martin Sheen. He's a legend. And he gave birth to Charlie Sheen. Can't hold that against him, but he also gave birth to Emilio Estevez, okay? Mel Gibson. Okay, so like I said, and I'm Jewish, I am not taking into account controversies or anything outside of acting. Now, Mel Gibson is a director, great director, but again, this is about acting. In my opinion, Mel Gibson's a movie star. I mean, not too far off from a superstar. He has an amazing range. He was great in the Lethal Weapon movies, of course. My favorite Mel Gibson performance is as Martin Riggs in the Lethal Weapon movies. He was great in Braveheart, even though the movie, I was not a big fan of the movie because it kind of made me sick as to how historically inaccurate it was. But I know for most people, they love that movie. But also, I don't think it's held up well over the years. But him as William Wallace, his acting was chef's kiss. And he could do funny, he could do action, he could do drama. Um, he's a movie star for me, and no matter what the controversies with him, I still love him. I loved him in that what was that Daddy's Home. In the second Daddy's Home movie, me and Jacob loved the first and the second one. But him in the second one was great. It was just great to see him in a mainstream movie again. Doing what he does. Uh, is that Zoe Deschanel? Guys, you gotta help me out with this one. Because this is definitely a why are you here if that is her. Or is that no? I don't I'm not sure who this is. Guys, you gotta help me out here. Jim Carrey should be Supernova, and my favorite Jim Carrey movie is Truman Show. All right, look. Jim Carrey was hot for a minute in the 90s, but if you're putting Jim Carrey in the Supernova category, uh sorry fam. I can't agree with you on that. Okay, it's Emma Stone. Okay, that's who I thought it was. I quite enjoy Emma Stone. Uh, she's kind of teetering between star and movie star. Like she hasn't, but she's just so likable. Um, she was great in a bunch of different movies. I'm trying to think of the one she gave an amazing performance in, but I can't for the life of me remember the title. Well, let's look up Emma Stone. It wasn't La La Land. Uh, yeah, she was great in Easy A. She was great in The Help. Let's see. Maniac, La La Land. Birdman. That's what it was. We were just talking about it too. She was so good in Birdman. Absolutely amazing. She was so likable in The Help. She was great in Zombieland. I mean, you watch her and you're like, I like her, you know? Superbad, of course. Such a great movie. You rub my back, I'll rub yours. But my back, coincidentally, is on my dick. Okay, Jim Carrey's here. Look, Jim Carrey's not Supernova. Jim Carrey's not Superstar. Uh, he's a star. He's in that Bill Murray, but he didn't have as good a career as Bill Murray. Now, look, in the '90s, I remember he ran off a string of movies that made $100 million, which back in the '90s was a huge deal when a movie made $100 million. Now that's like an opening weekend for a Marvel movie. Not even, right? Oh, sorry, throat's getting dry. Ace Ventura. Actually, my favorite movie with him is probably Cable Guy. Cable Guy was great. And I think is super underrated. Yeah, The Mask. I mean, he had this string of movies and, playing the goofy guy, but it kind of lost its appeal, so to speak. Like I said, Star is, for people who don't really have the range or just had a string, of, a year or two or three. And that's kind of what he's teetering on. Yeah, Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I always mix it up. He was great in that. He was okay in Man on the Moon, but he's not a supernova. Sandra Bullock. Now, Sandra Bullock is a movie star, but also at the same time, one of the most likable people in movie history. Like I said, with Emma Stone, like, you just like her. At least I do. Again, this is all my opinion. But she can do drama as well as comedy, and that's rough. It's much easier. Most actors will say it's much easier to be a dramatic actor than be a comic actor. To be able to make people laugh and take you seriously at the same time. Uh, I'm putting her at superstar. I mean, she is a superstar. I love, 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 love Sandra Bullock. Favorite Sandra Bullock movie? Gotta be Speed, man. She was just so good in that movie. She was so good in Speed. Gerard Butler? Actor? Uh, Gerard Butler is not a good actor. He's an action guy. Um, I mean, 300, stuff like that. Uh, but I don't think Gerard Butler belongs on a list like this. Yeah, no. Philip Seymour Hoffman, rest in peace. Again, Philip Seymour Hoffman is someone who, if he had lived, would have definitely been a contender for Supernova. Unfortunately, the early death puts him at movie star, but he should be a superstar. Favorite movie, definitely Capote. 300 is an awesome movie, absolutely. And there are plenty of, look, I mean, I love Rocky 3. Rocky 3 is my, favorite boxing movie of all time. But Rocky 3, I wouldn't be like, man, Mr. T and Sylvester Stallone, like S tier, baby. Look, he was good in 300, yeah, but we're talking about acting, right? So yeah. Poof. I think they put Frederick Mark on this list twice. Yeah, they did. Oh my God. Javier Bardem. I almost forgot his name. Javier Bardem is amazing. Um, I'll put him at movie star. No Country for Old Men. I mean, there's hands down. His performance in No Country for Old Men is one of the greatest in movie history. Um, he was incredible. Yeah, he was great in Skyfall. Also as the Bond villain. Steve Buscemi. Steve Buscemi is one of the most likable people. I put him at star. He's not quite movie star. I mean, favorite movie, definitely Reservoir Dogs. Mr. Pink. Why gotta be Mr. Pink for? You got a cool fucking name. You got a cool name. You're Mr. White. Uh, yeah, Reservoir Dogs for sure. I don't tip. What do you mean you don't tip? Hey, we got Mr. Susan Sarandon. What the hell is his name? Um, Tim Robbins. That's right, Tim Robbins. Tim Robbins. Personally, I cannot stand him in anything, but he did give a great performance in Shawshank Redemption, and that movie with oh god, Sean Penn, Mystic River. Mystic River. He was great in Mystic River. He was good in. I mean, he's good. He's a good. Like, I want to put him at star, but he's a movie star. Again, like I said, I don't want my biases, to get into it. But Tim Robbins, definitely a movie star. If I had to pick a favorite movie with him, it's got to be Shawshank. Shawshank is absolutely amazing. Um, Piercing by John Alonzo, one of my favorite people on this planet, and a great supporter who's helped me out so many times. Piercing by John Alonzo dropping a 50 spot on the super chat. I showed up late. Is Christoph Waltz on the list? I don't know yet. Again, I didn't make this list up, so if somebody's not on the list, it ain't my fault. I didn't make it up. And I didn't even look at the list before I started doing it. So again, there are some I may not recognize along the way, and there's some that may surprise me. But it is what it is. Tim Robbins and yes, Jacob's Ladder, another great movie, definitely. Is Bryan Cranston on the list? Yes, Bryan Cranston is on the list. We already did Bryan Cranston. He's right here. Movie star between Ed Norton and John Travolta. Let's see what else is going on in chat. I'm a few minutes behind, Eddie, but I cannot believe you didn't like Natalie Portman's Annihilation, the shitty alien movie. I did not like it. I was looking forward to it so much. Because I do like Natalie Portman. But Annihilation was not good. Groucho Marx. This is tough for me to do. You have no idea. Groucho Marx is one of the people that I envy most. The way his mind worked, the speed that his mind worked at, the wit, the sharpness. Like, I just envied Groucho Marx, as most comedians do. But again, we're basing this on acting. I mean, I love the Marx Brothers movie. I have all the DVDs of the Marx Brothers movies. I have the whole DVD set. This kills me, though. I'm going to put him at star. Because it just kills me to put him with Jane Fonda and Gerard Butler and stuff like that. Look, if I'm going to put Jim Carrey here, I got to put Groucho. Groucho is, picking a favorite is tough, but I probably got to go, it's between Duck Soup and Animal Crackers for me. I'll go Duck Soup as my favorite. If you haven't seen a Marx Brothers movie, please see one. It still holds up. Even the movies from the 30s, they still hold up because he was just so ahead of his time. Kirk Douglas. Kirk Douglas is definitely superstar. He's not quite supernova because he had a great run in the 50s and 60s. Spartacus, probably my favorite Kirk Douglas movie, along with The Fighter. He was great in that. But after that, he had longevity, but he didn't have the longevity of, the acting career. He was in a lot of bad movies in the 70s and 80s. He had a little renaissance in the 90s, but, pretty much the 50s and 60s were his peak. But definitely superstar. Johnny Depp. Now, apparently Johnny Depp is going through some shenanigans with Amber Heard. Honestly, Amber, never heard of her until Jacob mentioned it. Jacob's like, hey man, you know what's going on with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard? I'm like, who the hell is Amber Heard? That's his wife. Johnny Depp has a wife? Really? Apparently, I just learned Derek Jeter's been married for years. I was like, what the hell, man? When did Jeets get married? When did Captain get married? What is this? What's this world coming to? Come on. Dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria. Johnny Depp is one of the finest actors of all time. I don't know if he's in the right, if he's in the wrong. I don't care about the gossip, but my favorite Johnny Depp movie is Ed Wood. His performance in Ed Wood was, all due respect to everybody else in that cast, but he was heads above the rest. And I felt he definitely deserved an Oscar. Now I know he's quirky, and he does his Willy Wonka movies, and he's channeling Michael Jackson. I don't know what the hell is going on, but look at his credentials. He is one of the finest actors out there. Audrey Hepburn. Now, Audrey Hepburn deserves to be a supernova, not for her acting, but just because she's Audrey Hepburn. But I'm gonna keep her a superstar. Again, because I don't want my bias to bias this list. Sleepy Hollow, excellent movie. Also From Hell, that Jack the Ripper movie. Even though the movie wasn't great, Johnny Depp was excellent in that. Johnny Depp is just a fantastic actor. Audrey Hepburn, favorite Audrey Hepburn movie, it has to be Breakfast at Tiffany's. Just an amazing movie. But they picked a terrible male lead for that movie. And also Mickey Rourke playing a Chinese man. Eesh, very cringe. But, I mean, it's Breakfast at Tiffany's. Although Funny Face was pretty good. Robert Mitchum. Robert Mitchum was in some really, really great movies, but he never quite reached that superstar level, but definitely a movie star. Favorite Robert Mitchum movie? Probably The Man Who Wasn't Here, although he was great in Cape Fear. The original Max Cady. All right, you got to help me out, fam. I want to say that's Christopher Plummer, but I'm not quite sure. So please help me out with this one. I think it's Christopher Plummer, though. Let's move on to James Cagney for now. James Cagney, I mean, him and Bogart were kind of like my two first introductions to movies and my love of movies. But James Cagney, definitely superstar, and I'll put him up front here. I love, 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 love James Cagney. He had an amazing range as an actor. Originally, he started off in vaudeville with his wife as a dancer. And he was an amazing dancer. If you don't believe me, watch Yankee Doodle Dandy, for which he won the Academy Award in I think it was 1942. He plays George M. Cohan, the composer. He is amazing in that movie, but for me, it's the Warner Brothers gangster movies that I remember Cagney for. So for me, my favorite Cagney movie is probably Angels with Dirty Faces. I think it still holds up well, even though it was made in 1938 or 39. Definitely check it out. But James Cagney is one of the finest actors of all time with a great range. He could be menacing, he could be funny. He did a lot of musicals and just an all-around, just likable guy. Clint Eastwood. Interesting. As an actor. Again, not as a director, although he's a fantastic director, and I don't care about his politics. As an actor, the range is not quite there. He's pretty one-dimensional, but he's a movie star. Even though I don't agree with him on his politics, but the Sergio Leone spaghetti westerns he did in the 60s, the Dollars trilogy, still holds up to this day, even though all three of those movies were ripped off from Akira Kurosawa. If you don't know who Akira Kurosawa was, he's one of the greatest directors, not just Japanese directors of all time, but greatest directors on this earth of all time, who influenced everyone from Sergio Leone to Martin Scorsese as far as movies go. Oh, that's good. But movies like Yojimbo, Sanjuro, that's where the Dollars movies, Fistful of Dollars for a Few Dollars More, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, those were rip-offs of those movies. Jamie Foxx. I mean, Jamie Foxx, I like Jamie Foxx. He's so likable. And I love him as a comedian. And I still remember him as a stand-up comedian. And he was good as Ray Charles, but it was almost like a mimicking performance. You know what I mean? Like he was doing because he was really good when he was doing stand-up comedy and doing impersonations. Impressions. That's the word. Who learned you how to spoke? New York City public education system. But Jamie Foxx, I mean, I put him at star. He's not a why are you here? Because he is a good actor, but he's a star. Ray Fiennes. Ray Fiennes is an amazing actor. He's really good. The only issue is he's just not in enough movies, man. Like there are some actors that I'm like, why the hell aren't you in more movies, right? And Ray Fiennes is one of them. My favorite Ray Fiennes movie. I mean, he was amazing in Schindler's List, one of the greatest villains of all time. But I really like Quiz Show. Quiz Show is an amazing movie. It's based on a true story. It was about there was a craze. I mean, there still is. People love game shows, right? But in the 50s, television started becoming popular, and quiz shows were like a big deal. And Quiz Show is about a whole scandal that happened in the 50s with a very affluent family. And he plays a character, Charles Van Doren, and he was given the answers by the producers of the show, and it's directed by Robert Redford. The problem is it comes out in 1994, and 1994 is one of the greatest like movie years of all times. That's when you have Shawshank Redemption, Forrest Gump, Pulp Fiction. I mean, 94 was a crazy year for movies. And it was nominated for Best Picture. I remember that for sure in 94. But it was just, there was so many Titanic, no pun intended, movies. Titanic comes out later, of course. That it kind of got lost in the shuffle. But I'm going to put him in movie star. But he should be a superstar. Samuel L. Jackson. Motherfucker. I mean, you gotta give him motherfucker when you're talking about Samuel L. Jackson. Now, this is a guy who was in Pulp Fiction, but then was also in Snakes on a Plane, right? And I see Joe Pesci, and I'm gonna have the same argument for Joe Pesci. But he's got a good range as an actor. Has he done a lot of crappy movies like Deep Blue Sea and Snakes on a Plane? Yes. But he's also been in a lot of iconic roles, all the way back to the 80s. He's a movie star. I'm going to put him movie star. He's not quite superstar, but definitely movie star. Favorite? Yeah, it's got to be Pulp Fiction. I mean, Jules Winfield. Die Hard 3. Thank you. I love Die Hard 3. Die Hard 3 is amazing. Sam Jackson is a superstar just for his voice. All right, I can feel it. You know what? There you go. You convinced me. Scar Tech Gaming. I just bumped up Samuel L. Jackson as super. I mean, he is a super. I mean, he's been in pretty much every Quentin Tarantino movie. Looks weird with a nose. Fiennes does. Yes. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Ray Fiennes was Voldemort. Let's see. Who do we have next? We have the great Vivien Leigh. Vivien Leigh is a very sad story. She burnt out very quickly and very young in her career still. But she still managed to make Streetcar Named Desire and win the Oscar for it. Of course, everyone remembers Vivien Leigh as Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind. I mean, Supernova, Superstar. I put her at Superstar. If it wasn't for the substance abuse issues and her career continued, I mean, she is a 2-time Oscar winner, but she's not quite Supernova. Now, Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci, like I said, with Samuel L. Jackson, look, we all remember Goodfellas, but I also remember the string of comedies Oh, hold on. Gartic. Not to mention that Sam Jackson also had a purple lightsaber. Okay, okay, all right. Joe Pesci. So again, we remember Goodfellas, but I also remember the string of comedies that he did in the 90s that were god awful. Like The Super, Eight Heads in a Duffel Bag, Gone Fishing. I mean, he had a pretty bad run there. I mean, in reality, let's take a look as to how many really good movies he was in. As a gangster, yes. We remember him in Casino, we remember him in Goodfellas, and he was amazing. He was the only good part for me in that last movie, The Irishman. Otherwise, I mean, I know they de-aged Robert De Niro and Al Pacino and all of them, but there's this one scene where Robert De Niro is young and he's de-aged, and he looks young, and he's kicking this guy on the ground, and they are such old man kicks where he's kicking him real carefully, and he's kind of swinging his leg around because he doesn't want to like break that hip, that old man hip. It was not a good movie. I know some people liked it, but I think he was the best part of The Irish. So we got The Irishman, and of course he's been off for a bunch of years. He was in The Good Shepherd for like 2 minutes. Love Ranch was a terrible movie. I don't know why the hell he made it. Oh my God, and The Wise Guy, the music video. Yes, Joe Pesci did a rap video uh, in which he uses the phrase snitches get stitches. Uh, I hold on. I gotta do it. I gotta do it. I gotta go to Joe Pesci, Wise Guy. All right, so he was great as Leo Getz, not in Lethal Weapon 4. Again, Gone Fishing was terrible. Eight Heads in a Duffel Bag was terrible. Casino, I think, is a great movie. A lot of people call it like, oh, it's just basically Goodfellas, when it's not. It is completely like a polar opposite from Goodfellas. That was a good movie. Jimmy Hollywood, another terrible comedy. A Bronx Tale, he was in that for 2 minutes at the end. The Public Eye, that was terrible. Lethal Weapon 3 was the worst Lethal Weapon. Now, My Cousin Vinny, classic. Classic. JFK, David Ferry, all I remember are those frightening eyebrows that he had. Don't get me started on JFK. I hate that movie so much. The Super, another terrible comedy. Home Alone, classic. Great comedy. Goodfellas, of course, the movie most people remember him in. What am I, funny? Funny like how? How am I funny to you? What am I, like a clown? I'm here to amuse you. I'm here to make you laugh. I'm here to fucking amuse you. Lethal Weapon 2, great. I forgot he was in Moonwalker. And then before that, Once Upon a Time in America, great movie, but again, he was in it for 5 minutes. And Raging Bull. Okay, so he's got Raging Bull, Lethal Weapon 2, Goodfellas, Home Alone, My Cousin Vinny, and Casino. So basically, it's like 6 movies, but he's just so freaking good at what he does. I'm still putting him at movie star. All that, and I was like, yeah. No, I'm not putting him. I mean, he's an Oscar winner. He gave one of the greatest performances of all time in Goodfellas. So just for that alone. But I do have a bone to pick when people are like, "Oh, he's one of the he's the greatest actor." No, he's batting barely over the Mendoza line when it comes to movies. All right, Adrian Brody. Adrian Brody. I mean, he's a star. He did an Oscar bait movie called The Piano. which is, again, if you want to make a movie and win an Oscar, do something about the Holocaust or have a disability, right? So he did both in that movie, technically. After that, he had one of those careers where it's like, what the hell happened? It's kind of like when Cuba Gooding Jr. won the Oscar for Jerry Maguire, and then like hasn't made a decent movie since. It is what it is. Ben Affleck. How much? Oh, we got a lot to go still. Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck is a movie star. I mean, for me, he's a superstar. But that's because I just have a giant man crush on Ben Affleck. But Ben Affleck has been in some amazing movies and given some amazing performances. My favorite Ben Affleck movie. I mean, he was so good in Good Will Hunting. I thought he was actually much better than Matt Damon in that movie. But again, I'm a bit behind on the screen, but I have to comment on Steve Buscemi. He is a superstar. Have you seen enough of his work? Yeah, I've seen all of his work. Boardwalk Empire. Again, Boardwalk Empire is a TV show. Steve Buscemi is amazing, but he's not a movie star. He's a star. He's one of the most likable people. Absolutely. But The Town. Oh yes, The Town. Ben Affleck pulling double duty, directing and starring in it. Yeah, The Town. Good call on that one, fam. Good call, Drew. I'm going with The Town as my favorite. Benicio del Toro. Benicio del Toro is definitely a movie star. He's a great actor. He's got a pretty good range. My favorite role is definitely The Usual Suspects. He's so good. So good. Ooh, God, that is a tiny picture. Ooh, that is that, yeah, that's, oh crap, what's his name? Sam Rockwell. Sam Rockwell. There we go. I didn't even have to look it up. Sam Rockwell. Sam Rockwell is one of my most favorite people. I especially love, I mean, you cannot have him dance enough in any movie that he's in. Sam Rockwell is just absolutely phenomenal. But again, he's one of those dudes who's just not in enough movies. But he's getting there, but I think he should be in a lot more movies. And definitely someone who can carry a movie as a lead. Let's see, who do we have next? We have Sir Ben Kingsley. Sir Ben Kingsley is not a superstar for me. Definitely a movie star. He's been in some of the most iconic movies in history. My favorite role, definitely Gandhi. He well deserved an Oscar for Gandhi. An amazing movie. Bruce Willis. Ooh, this is tough. Bruce Willis as an actor. I mean, he doesn't have range. He's in the Jack Nicholson category of he's just Bruce Willis in every movie. But his impact on movies should not be looked down upon because he changed the action star role for all time. Because before Bruce Willis, action stars were people like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone, these bulking, muscle-bound, and then Die Hard comes out in 1988, and you got this balding, dad bod, New York, wisecracking cop who just looks like the average guy. There's nothing special about him. But he carries an action movie, and one of the greatest action movies of all time, with one of the greatest villains of all time, with some of the best action scenes, with some of the best one-liners, just an all-around amazing movie. And then people just started trying to recreate that. You know, he became the archetype that made way for the average guy to be an action star, right? You didn't have to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger to be an action star. So, for that reason, I put him at movie star. I give him that respect. And, I mean, Die Hard. Die Hard by far. Greatest Christmas movie. And my favorite Bruce Willis movie. Shout out to him playing Butch, though, in Pulp Fiction. Cameron Diaz. She's another what the hell happened, right? She started off strong in The Mask, but then it was kind of like, what the hell happened? I kind of liked her in Charlie's Angels, but she ruins Gangs in New York, and then she just retires. She's not quite a why are you here? Because she does belong here. But she's not quite a star. She's my first falling star. She's someone who should have been way bigger than she was. Next on the list, we have Marlene Dietrich. Marlene Dietrich is an icon. Personally, not one of my favorite actresses, though. I'll throw her in the star category. I think she was extremely overrated. It was just that I think her off movie, like Real Life, was way more interesting than her movie roles. Let's see. Next on the list is Jodie Foster. Personally, cannot stand Jodie Foster. I do not like her in Silence of the Lambs. I know a lot of people do, but she's an amazing actress, though. Even though I don't personally enjoy her, I do see the craft, you know, going all the way back to Taxi Driver. So I put her at movie star. Favorite Jodie Foster movie? Honestly, don't have one. I am just not a fan. I don't know. There's just something about her that really bothers me. I don't know. Yeah, we only have one Who, but honestly, I think this is Christopher Plummer. Not Christopher Plummer. The dad from Sound of Music. What's his name? Oh yeah, Christopher Plummer. Okay. I honestly think this is Christopher Plummer. Christopher Plummer, definitely a movie star. One of the greatest actors of all time. Favorite Christopher Plummer movie? Good question. I'm not a fan of Sound of Music, to be honest with you. I don't know. Christopher Plummer's like, he's a great actor, an amazing actor, but there's no like one role that really stands out for me as like, oh yeah, he's amazing in that. Um, he was good as Dr. Goins in 12 Monkeys. I did like that. But you could probably go much further back. Again, I'm just not a fan of Sound of Music. Trying to see if there was something else here. Looks like a lot of TV, yeah, TV stuff here. Anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but definitely movie star. Catherine Zeta-Jones. Okay, Catherine Zeta-Jones. Star. Star, nothing special. I didn't really care for Chicago, to be honest with you. I mean, people were probably just impressed that somebody made a musical. Other than that, she was in a couple few good movies. But again, nothing special. I don't really have a favorite Catherine Zeta-Jones movie. So let's move on to Charlie Chaplin. This is the icon, right, of comedy. Charlie Chaplin, even if you don't know the name, when you see the image, you know who it is. Uh, but we're talking about acting. Now, Chaplin was amazing because of his innovations. He changed the world of comedy forever. He's still looked upon, as like the godfather of comedy. But let's not forget, he also directed most of his movies. He wrote most of his movies. He scored most of his movies. He wrote the music for them. And of course, he starred in them. But we're strictly talking about acting. As an actor, obviously not great range. My favorite Chaplin movie is definitely The Great Dictator. Uh, Amazingly powerful movie, and he did show some dramatic range in that. So while he's not he should be. I mean, if we're talking about entertainers, then he's a supernova. But we're talking about acting. He's not a supernova, but he is a superstar. I mean, it's Charlie Chaplin, right? Let's see what's going on in the chat. I had a crush on Bruce Willis as a kid. Hey, who didn't? Get in line, sister. I have a soft spot for Jodie in Contact. Yes, Contact was a good movie. Chinatown, she was good. Chinatown is an iconic movie. When are you going to release the other epic rap battle grading videos? When I do them. Christopher Plummer is located before Christopher Walken on the list at the bottom. Oh, okay. Then I don't know who this is. So I guess we're going to put him back in the who. Who? Oh, wait. Isn't that him right here? Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, so there you go. I already mentioned him, so I'm putting him here. Oh my God, I forgot her name. What the heck? How could I forget her name? Charlize Theron. There you go. I just had to think about it for a few seconds. Charlize Theron is a movie star, no doubt. Loved her in Mad Max. Loved her in Monster. Great performance there. She's a movie star for sure. Do a best book tier list next. Maybe. Not really. We'll see. Chuck Heston, Charlton Heston. Now, Charlton Heston is, again, somebody who... Hold on, I'm dying for a vape over here. My throat's so sore. Book tier list? Maybe. I'll look into it. I mean, it seems like a couple of people at least want it. Charlton Heston, very, very one-dimensional. Not a lot of range. But of course, he was in some epic movies like Ben-Hur, The Ten Commandments. I mean, movie star for sure. Favorite Chuck Heston movie? Planet of the Apes, baby. You maniacs! You did it! Damn you! Damn you all to hell! The original Get Off My Lawn. Christian Bale. Christian Bale. Goodfellas book was amazing. Yeah, the book is called Wise Guy by Nick Pileggi. Very good book, I agree. Christian Bale? Ooh, this is a tough one. Because Christian Bale, for me, at least, not too much, but he does fall in that Ed Norton category of starts off with a bang, but then kind of becomes a douchebag that's hard to work with. My favorite Christian Bale movie? That's a tough one. I liked him in The Machinist. I think that was his best role. and a role that took a huge toll on him physically, he's not a superstar. And I know one of the first commenters was like, De Niro, Pacino, and Christian Bale, S tier, no arguments. Well, I'm arguing. No, I got to put him as a movie star. His abilities as an actor are far above most. Yeah. Oh my God, Christopher Lloyd. Oh God, Doc. Dr. Emmett Brown. Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, for Back to the Future alone, I got to put him right behind Murray over here as a star. But in reality, he's not. Aside from Back to the Future, and he was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, though, along with Danny DeVito, which a lot of people forget. But just for his performance as Doc Brown, that's the only thing keeping him out of Why Are You Here? Christopher Walken. Oh my God, I'm not even going to try to do a Christopher Walken impression. Christopher Walken is a superstar. I'm going to write there. Between Depp and Hepburn. Christopher Walken's a superstar. He's Christopher Walken, goddammit. Do I even have to justify this in any way? Favorite Christopher Walken movie? Ooh, that is tough. I'm going to have to go King of New York. Frank White. Who's next? Oh, here we go. Christoph Waltz. Piercing by John Alonzo was asking, Christoph Waltz on the list? Christoph Waltz is on the list. Christoph Waltz is a movie star. He's not quite superstar, but he may be eventually. Deer Hunter. Well, yeah, of course. Deer Hunter is the one that Christopher Walken won the Oscar for back in 1978. The Michael Cimino classic, and then Michael Cimino makes the biggest Hollywood disaster of all time after that. Clark Gable. Clark Gable is again more of just an icon of Hollywood past. But if you really look at Clark Gable's career, he had no acting range whatsoever. He was in some iconic movies like Gone with the Wind, It Happened One Night, but he's not a superstar. He's a movie star. James Bond. God, I forgot his name. What's James Bond's name? Yeah. What was oh my God, Skyfall. That was one of them, right? Daniel Craig. Okay, Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig is a really good actor. I know he's taken on that Bond mantle, and that's pretty much all he's been doing. But he's been in some amazing movies, and I think, yeah, definitely movie star. You know, the more I look at Christoph Waltz, I mean, Inglourious Bastards. Nah, Christoph Waltz belongs at superstar. That's it. I'm moving him. And definitely Inglourious Bastards is my favorite Christoph Waltz performance. That's a bingo. That was terrible. Marlon Brando. There is no discussion that Marlon Brando is a supernova. Marlon Brando redefined acting in the 50s, and he became what every actor wanted to be. Which Bond? The current Bond. What are you talking about? Favorite Brando performance? I mean, Godfather. But Streetcar Named Desire, close second. But then there's On the Waterfront. Again, Marlon Brando did not make a lot of good movies, but he made probably 4 of the most iconic movies of all time. Godfather, Apocalypse Now, Streetcar Named Desire, On the Waterfront. That alone puts him at a supernova, but also his impact on acting is just undeniable. He may be the most impactful actor of all time, as far as generations that came after him. Oh, I know this kid. He played Stephen Hawking. I don't remember his name though. Somebody help me out, please. I don't remember his name, but I know him. He's still early in his career, so I'm gonna put him at star because who knows, he may burn out as well. But I really did enjoy him in that Stephen Hawking movie. He gave an excellent performance. I know he won the Oscar for it. His name just escapes me. Robert Redford. Woofa! Look at that. Look at that chest. Look at that chest hair. Eddie Redmayne. Thank you so much, Scartech. Really appreciate it. Yes, and Brando, hot even when fat, but Brando is just hot. I mean, Streetcar Named Desire when he tears his shirt off, sexy, sexy. Robert Redford. Robert Redford didn't exactly have the range of his counterpart, Paul Newman, but Redford is a movie star for sure. And should probably be in the superstar category. I'm gonna put him at superstar. I mean, come on. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. My favorite Redford movie. All the President's Men, close second. Oh, this guy. Again, his name escapes me. I know he played one of the King's Speech. Did not deserve the Oscar for the King's Speech. That was a terrible choice. He was good in the Kingsman. He was good in the Kingsman. I don't put him at star. There's nothing really super special about him. Colin Firth, thank you very much, Robbie. Next we have, oh my God, how can I forget? Gary Cooper. Gary Cooper, again, Gary Cooper was like the man's man back in the day. You know, High Noon. But Gary Cooper is not exactly in that Cary Grant, Henry Fonda category. They were much better actors with much better range. But Gary Cooper is iconic. Gary Cooper was a movie star. He wasn't a superstar, but he was definitely a movie star. Next, we have Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman, definitely superstar. Gary Oldman, one of the finest actors of all time. Amazing range. Going all the way back to the 80s in stuff like State of Grace, Sid and Nancy. In the 90s, bunch of classics. He did an amazing job in a terrible movie called Immortal Beloved, where he played Beethoven. The Professional, one of the best baddies of all time. Just amazing. I love Gary Oldman. Low key, my favorite Gary Oldman performance, tiny role in what was that movie that Quentin Tarantino wrote but didn't direct? True Romance. I don't know what the hell they were going for in that movie. In that scene where he played what was it, Drexel? And he I don't know, they were going for with the Jamaican braids and he had the big scar on the face and he's talking about this ain't white boy day, like you're white. You white. Sorry, Drexel. But favorite Gary Oldman, that's tough, man. He's been in so many great movies. I really love him in The Professional. I think he gave just such an amazing performance, but low key, because there were so many people in the movie, I really don't like JFK, but I think he did an amazing job playing Lee Harvey Oswald. Like, he really nailed it. But not a good movie. Hate JFK. Cary Grant. Cary Grant is a supernova. Cary Grant, amazing range as an actor. He could do a funny, comedic, bumbling role like Arsenic and Old Lace. And then he turns around and he's in a Hitchcock movie. playing the leading man dramatic role. I mean, then he's in The Bishop's Wife, and he's just so charming. Arsenic and Old Lace, definitely my favorite Cary Grant movie, but obviously also one of the most handsome men of all time as well. But here's a fun fact. Cary Grant's real name, Archibald Leach. Archibald. I'm glad he changed his name to Cary Grant. Let's see who we have next. Oh my god. How am I forgetting his name? Oh god, To Kill a Mockingbird. I'm kicking myself for forgetting Atticus Finch. Gregory Peck. Jesus. Gregory Peck, just for To Kill a Mockingbird alone, is a supernova. But Gregory Peck had an amazing career, but he'll always be Atticus Finch. I mean, if you haven't seen the movie, now, number one, read the novel. It's Harper Lee's only novel she ever wrote. They did release a sequel that she didn't finish. I never read it. I just felt it was sacrilegious because they waited till she died to publish it. So obviously she didn't want it published. I mean, talk about a one-hit wonder. To Kill a Mockingbird is probably the greatest American novel ever. And he kills it. He kills it in To Kill a Mockingbird. One of the greatest movies of all time. Please, please, please see it if you haven't seen it. Oh my God. I'm not even, no. Gwyneth Paltrow, I cannot stand her. She's not a good actress. She's a terrible human being. I know I said I'm not going to let personal issue, but with her, just let's move on. Harrison Ford. A lot of people hate me for this, but I really do not like Harrison Ford. I don't know what it's like, like you meet somebody and before a word comes out of their mouth, just looking at them and you're like, I don't like this person. I know he has just stumbled into the most iconic roles of all time. Han Solo, Indiana Jones, right? Blade Runner. He's a movie star, of course. But I can't stand him. Ugh. Harvey Keitel. Harvey Keitel is an interesting one. Oh, and he was in The Fugitive. Okay, so he's a superstar. Okay, I'm going to bump him up to super. He's not a supernova. But yeah, to each their own. Look, it's just something. Harvey Keitel's an interesting one. He has the acting ability of a Robert De Niro, but it just never clicked for him. Like, I call it like market correction. Like, for example, in the 80s, you had Michael Keaton and Tom Hanks, and they were kind of like on equal footing. But then Tom Hanks market corrects Michael Keaton, and his career takes off, right? Michael Keaton kind of peaks at Batman, but then Tom Hanks pivots and does Philadelphia and Forrest Gump back to back. And after that, he market corrects him, and he basically has the career that Michael Keaton could have had. So I think that's what happened with Harvey Keitel as well. Because we forget in Martin Scorsese's first big movie, Mean Streets, Harvey Keitel is the lead. Robert De Niro is just a minor character in the movie. Scorsese believed that Keitel was going to be the bigger of the two. So he's a movie star who could have and probably should have been a superstar or potentially even a supernova. Oh, Heath Ledger. Rest in peace, Heath Ledger. Just for the Joker alone. I mean, his performance as the Joker, that whole movie hinges on him. I've talked about this in depth. My feeling about the Nolan movies. I think they're extremely overrated. The first one was very subpar. The third one was a disaster. The second one is amazing, but it really hinges on the Joker character. Without the Joker character, it's a decent movie, right? But Heath Ledger just gives a performance for the ages, and probably would have ended up being a supernova if he didn't pass away. Henry Fonda, this is so easy. He is the original. He's Tom Hanks before Tom Hanks. He's America's dad. That everybody wished that everybody wished that either he or Jimmy Stewart. It was kind of like a pick'em. Him or Jimmy Stewart was your dad. Favorite Henry Fonda movie, easily hands down, 12 Angry Men. If you haven't seen 12 Angry Men, please, please, please see it. One of the greatest. I mean, it's in my top 5 movies of all times. Oh God. Oh, I forgot her name. She was in Boys Don't Cry. Hilary Swank. There we go. Oh, Grapes of Wrath. Absolutely, Noah. Jim Carrey needs to be up higher. No, he doesn't. Trust me. She kind of fell off. I mean, she's a movie star. She won 2 Oscars. She had a great run in the 90s and early 2000s, and Hilary Swank she just kind of disappeared. But I love her in Boys Don't Cry, and of course, Million Dollar Baby was an amazing performance. Definitely movie star. Wolverine, Hugh Jackman. Now, talk about range. Hugh Jackman has a lot of range. I know to most people he's Wolverine, but he's also a song and dance man. He's an amazing singer. He's an amazing dancer. He's done a number of great movies aside from playing Wolverine, of course. Definite movie star. Favorite Hugh Jackman? I mean, I gotta go with Wolverine. Not the movie Wolverine. His best Wolverine performance was a toss-up for me between Logan and X2. But he's definitely a movie star. Humphrey Bogart is on this list twice. I don't know why, but he is. That's why I'm saying I think Christopher Plummer was on the list twice as well. I'm saying this is Christopher Plummer. They put a couple of, there was somebody else who was on the list twice as well. So I'm calling that. That's Christopher Plummer. Oh God. Blanchett. I forgot her first name. What's Blanchett's first name? Is it Kate? Kate Blanchett? Amazing actor. I'm sorry, actress. Close to superstar. But gonna put her at movie star. But Kate Blanchett is absolutely phenomenal. She might end up, definitely superstar. There you go. Yeah, Bogart is double supernova. Next we have Jack Lemmon. Jack Lemmon, a lot of people have forgotten about Jack Lemmon, but in the 50s and 60s, he made some of the best movies of all time. Mr. Roberts, the original, The Odd Couple. Well, not the original was on Broadway. So the original Odd Couple movie stars Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau. But in the stage play, it was Walter Matthau and Art Carney, actually. And that's one of my biggest what if regrets. Like, I kind of wish Art Carney was in The Odd Couple, because he was a TV legend. For those who don't know, Art Carney played Ed Norton in The Honeymooners. And we're going to get to Art Carney has a dubious place in history. We'll get to that a little bit later once we get to Al Pacino, who better be on this list. Jack Lemmon was a star. Not quite a movie star, but a star. Jack Nicholson, on the other hand. Obvious supernova. even though he just plays Jack Nicholson in most movies. But it's Jack Nicholson. Who gives a shit? I watch Jack Nicholson eat cereal for 2 hours. That's how amazing he is. Favorite Jack Nicholson movie? That is tough. Whew. You got One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. You got Chinatown. So many great movies. The Shining. I gotta go One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's tough, man, but Jack Nicholson. Two Good Men. James Dean. This is a tough one for me personally because James Dean has been an icon to me since I was a little kid. But he only made 3 movies, even though they are 3 iconic movies. And then he dies at the age of 24, just a few days, not only after finishing his final movie, but after filming an ad for television warning people to be safe on the roads. And he says, be safe when you're driving because the next life you save might be mine. And then some douchebag tries to cut across to make a turn instead of waiting for Dean's car to go by. And Dean crashes right into him and dies on impact, breaking his neck. And again, dies at 24, and he would have had potentially the career Brando had. He was market corrected by Paul Newman. Once James Dean dies, Paul Newman gets all of the roles that James Dean was supposed to get, and then builds his career off that. The Left-Handed Gun, Somebody Up There Likes Me, so on and so forth. So potentially, Paul Newman might have not had the career he had if it wasn't for James Dean's death, but he's still a movie star, but he should have been a supernova. That's how amazing of an actor he was. And he only made 3 movies over the course of 18 months. East of Eden, directed by Elia Kazan, is one of the greatest movies ever, based on one of the greatest novels ever. Rebel Without a Cause, of course, which he's most known for, and then Giant, directed by, I forgot who directed it, but it was based on a Steinbeck novel. Now we get one of the, this is not even a discussion, Jimmy Stewart. Jimmy Stewart was the original Tom Hanks. Just one of the most lovable, likable, amazing range as an actor. Again, much like Cary Grant, Jimmy Stewart could just be silly, fun in a movie like Harvey. But then he can do a movie like Rear Window and play the dramatic male lead in a Hitchcock movie. Then he can do a movie like Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Definitely Harvey is my favorite Jimmy Stewart movie. It's just such a hard, like something about the movie is just, it warms my cockles. And of course, the movie that they play every single Christmas. Y'all know it. Let's not even talk about it. That movie, yeah. Anyway, Jeff Bridges. Not a fan of Jeff Bridges. Just not a fan. But I do love him in The Big Lebowski. Just for The Big Lebowski alone, he gets movie star privileges. But that's pretty much the only movie I like him in. Noah, The Man Who Shot Liberty. Yeah, there's so many great Jimmy Stewart movies. More than you can even count. Pretty much every movie he did with Hitchcock is a classic. But my favorite personally is Harvey. All right, next on the list is Jennifer Aniston. Why? Why is she even here? Is she hot? Yeah, she's hot. Was she married to Brad Pitt? Yes, she was. Was she on one of apparently the greatest TV shows of all time? I never got it. I watched a few episodes of Friends and just doesn't do it for me. I don't think she belongs on this list. It's absolutely ridiculous. Next, she looks familiar, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure who that is, so help me out. Jeremy Irons. Jeremy Irons, definite movie star. Speaking of Die Hard 3, Die Hard with a Vengeance. Um, yeah, was it Die Hard? Whatever, Die Hard 3. I know he was Hans Gruber's brother in that movie. Jeremy Irons. I think Reversal of Fortune is probably. That's Jennifer Lawrence, really? That doesn't even look like her. Oh well, if that's Jennifer Lawrence, then definite movie star. I love Jennifer Lawrence. I think she's an amazing actress. Who's on her way, if her career continues down the trajectory it's going, is definitely going to be a superstar one day. Oh God, I forgot her name. Hold on, trust the IMDb. I know she won the Oscar for Blue Sky, which nobody remember. Jessica Lange. Um, Jessica Lange, definite movie star. I don't really have a favorite Jessica Lange movie, but I did like her in Blue Sky. Oh, who do we have now? Oh, I'm just, even though he's got such a unique name. Oh, Joaquin Phoenix, brother, of course, of the great late River Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix, definitely a movie star, very quirky, but he's given some great performances. My favorite performance of him has to be in Gladiator, though. I thought he was amazing in Gladiator. John Wayne. This is a tough one. This is a tough one because I love John Wayne so much, but we're talking about acting, right? His acting ability was not great. Um, but he's still a movie star. I know he may be a superstar for a lot of people, and maybe even a supernova. But as an actor, I mean, the Duke really didn't have a great range. Yeah. Oh God, I forgot her name. Somebody help me out. I know who she is. I just forgot her name. Julia Roberts. Julia Roberts is another one. I mean, amazing run in the 90s, even in the 2000s, and then just kind of fell off. But Julia Roberts is a definite movie star. She's one of the finest actresses we've ever had. Favorite Julia Roberts movie? I'm gonna have to go. I mean, I gotta go Pretty Woman. It's the movie that made her, and I think that was her peak performance. Julianne Moore, thank you. Julianne Moore, definite movie star. My favorite performance of hers has to be in Boogie Nights. She was Vanessa. Is that Vanessa Paradis? I don't know who that is. Um, but yeah, Julianne Moore was amazing in Boogie Nights. Definitely favorite movie. Kate Winslet. Kate Winslet. Do I even have a favorite Kate Winslet movie? I mean, I guess Titanic. But she's a star for me. I don't know, just something about her acting that kind of rubs me the wrong way. Katharine Hepburn. Katharine Hepburn definitely is a supernova. Um, the only actress or actor to ever win 4 Oscars. There have been a few people who've won 3 Oscars, but only one person has won 4 Oscars, and that is Katharine Hepburn. Favorite Katharine Hepburn movie would probably be Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Um, amazing, and really ahead of its time movie. Boogie Nights was pretty cheesy. Yo, man, get the hell out of here. That's it. Leave. Leave, you wench. How dare you shit on Boogie Nights? One of the finest movies ever made. Are you kidding me? Pretty cheesy. How dare you, sir? How dare you? I'm BF Mert. I joined way late. I love these. You made my day. I'm going to catch up from behind. Speaking of catching up from behind, Perfect timing for Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey, again, we got to keep the personal stuff out of it. I said I'm just basing it on acting ability. Kevin Spacey was a superstar, man. I mean, just an absolute superstar. Favorite Kevin Spacey movie? Definitely Usual Suspects. I mean, he just gave an amazing performance in that movie. And then he goes on a tear, man. American Beauty, Seven, just absolute tear. And then that TV show he was in, even though it ended terribly because of everybody knows why. Just an amazing actor. I mean, it's just such a goddamn shame that he was his own worst enemy. I do not know who this is, so help me out, people. Leo. Leo is a supernova. I don't care what anybody says. Leonardo DiCaprio is probably the finest actor of our generation. I mean, there's a reason so many directors, elite directors, want to work with him. He's just such an amazing, amazing actor with a range that rivals pretty much anybody's range as an actor. Absolute supernova. Oh, picking a favorite Leo movie is hard, man. That is so hard. Ooh. Wolf of Wall Street. Definitely Wolf of Wall Street. Let's see. Did I get anybody know who this is? Because I don't know who this is either. Help me out here with these two. Leo's only weakness is accent work. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie, I mean, it's too early, but she's fantastic. She's a star on her way to becoming a movie star and potentially a superstar, but it's way too early for Margot Robbie. Way too early. Oh crap, I forgot his name also. Help me out here. Matthew McConaughey. There we go. Matthew McConaughey. He could be on a Why Are You Here, to be honest with you, but he has made a couple of good movies. I'll put him at star. Oh my god, this is not even up for discussion. I mean, she's been nominated for what, like 537 Oscars. The first woman may be Helen Hunt. No, I think you're right. I think it's Laura Dern. No, that's definitely not Helen Hunt. Laura Dern, I'll put her at star. My grandparents grew up with Jimmy Stewart. He was that nice in real life. Yeah. Hey Eddie, just dropping in with my mom. Excited to see your opinions. Hey mom, how you doing, mom? Nice to see you. Nice. Well, I can't see you. Eddie, I was thinking of a different one with Mark Wahlberg. Was great. Okay, yeah. Better believe it. Yeah, Meryl Streep is a supernova. I mean, there is just no discussion. Greatest actress of all time. In fact, I'm going to move her right next to Bogart right here. I mean, Meryl Streep is Jesus Christ. Favorite Meryl Streep movie though? I loved her in Kramer versus Kramer. She was great in Devil Wears Prada. I mean, she's great in everything she does. It's Meryl Streep. I don't think Meryl Streep has a male. Well, no, she does. Daniel Day-Lewis, but he hasn't made as many movies as she has. But she's on that Daniel Day-Lewis, so I'll put them next to each other right here. Just absolutely phenomenal. Michael Douglas. Michael Douglas is a movie star. He's like the definition of movie star. Doesn't have an amazing range, but he has a longevity through the 80s, 90s, 2000s. Just a string of hits. Probably favorite movie has to be Wall Street, man. Gordon Gekko. Greed is good. Greed is your friend. Just absolutely amazing. Oh boy. Forgot his name too. James McAvoy's buddy in X-Men First Class. Michael Fassbender. Michael Fassbender, he falls into that Edward Norton category, kind of. He starts off hot. He obviously has the ability and talent. My favorite movie and performance of his was in Inglourious Bastards. But it doesn't feel like he's reaching his potential. Maybe it's me, I don't know, but now I'm getting a little. Oh, okay, never mind. I see them on the list. I was like, they better be on this list. Okay, they're there. Fassbender, I'll put it star, but he should be a movie star. Michael Madsen. Not a great actor, but I love him. There's just something about his voice, and but he's not a good actor, but he was great in Pulp Fiction. He was great in Kill Bill. So I'll put Madsen at star. Marilyn Monroe. I think Marilyn Monroe is underrated as an actress. As icons, yes, she's a supernova, but as an actor, she's a movie star. She's underrated. A lot of people really dismiss her acting ability, but she wasn't a superstar as an actress. She was a superstar off screen. She was a supernova off screen. She's still, to this day, people know Marilyn Monroe. Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman. Superstar or supernova? It's a tough one. Been in so many amazing movies, and he just transcends movies, but not quite. I can't do Supernova for him. If I didn't do it for Anthony Hopkins, Dustin Hoffman, James Cagney, and Brad Pitt, as amazing as Morgan Freeman is, yeah, his voice is definitely. I mean, it's him and James Earl Jones for like greatest voices of all time. But he's definitely superstar. Favorite Morgan Freeman movie, again, has to be Shawshank Redemption. But Unforgiven is a close second. I think, no, Morgan Freeman won the Oscar for $1 Million Baby. Gene Hackman won the Oscar for Unforgiven. Nicolas Cage. This is a tough one. I don't know if he's batshit crazy or just so brilliant he's beyond us mere mortals. Oh, is Nicolas Cage a good actor? I have no idea. I mean, I guess he's a star, right? I don't know. I mean, Nicolas Cage is one of the most baffling people in cinematic history for me. Uh, yeah, you can consider him a falling star, especially because everything he does now is straight to DVD. Eh, I'll leave him at star. Oh boy, Nicole Kidman. Nicole Kidman is a movie star. She's fallen off in recent years, but she's an amazing actress. A lot of people forget, especially her work in the 90s and early 2000s. Favorite Nicole Kidman movie? I know a lot of people don't like Eyes Wide Shut, but I love Eyes Wide Shut. I think it's an amazing movie. I know it's not the best Kubrick, but it's still a great movie. Finally, we get to Pacino. I mean, this is obviously no discussion, right? We don't have to discuss Al Pacino, why he's a supernova. But I think Al Pacino, in my opinion, gave the greatest acting performance of any actor in all of history in Godfather 2. I will put up, I mean, fight me. Give me any other character, any acting performance. Al Pacino as Michael Corleone in Godfather 2 is the greatest acting performance of all time. I could spend the next 3 hours breaking down scene by scene by scene, the abortion scene in Godfather 2, the scene where he goes to his mother and realizes that he's all alone in the world now. He has nobody. His performance, without even saying anything, Pacino absolutely destroys anybody else's performance. In Godfather 2 specifically. And he loses. This is why I said where Art Carney's going to come up later. He loses to Art Carney, of all people. Jack Nicholson was nominated for Chinatown that year. Let me quickly take a look at, I think it was the 1975 Best Actor. Yeah, that's the year Art Carney won. Nominees. So you have Jack Nicholson in Chinatown, one of the most iconic roles of all time. Dustin Hoffman in Lenny, absolutely fantastic. Al Pacino in Godfather 2. Albert Finney, Murder on the Orient Express, another amazing performance. And then you have Art Carney in Harry and Tonto. Now, Harry and Tonto is a fine movie. He gives an amazing performance in it. But to say that, I mean, I would have been okay if Jack Nicholson won for Chinatown, because you're pitting two iconic performances against each other. But Al Pacino not winning for Godfather 2 is the biggest travesty in Oscar history, maybe only rivaled by Dances with Wolves beating out Goodfellas in 1990. But, I mean, Art Carney, love him. Love him. But no way he should have beat Al Pacino in 1975. Paul Newman. Paul Newman, definite supernova. Favorite Paul Newman movie? You got Cool Hand Luke. You got The Hustler. You got Color of Money. You got Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. I mean, the list is endless when it comes to Paul Newman. I'm gonna have to go Cool Hand Luke. I can eat 50 eggs. Nobody can eat 50 eggs. I can. De Niro. I gotta put them next to each other, right? Pacino, De Niro, kind of like peanut butter and jelly. They go together. De Niro, the only thing I think De Niro has over Pacino is De Niro has a better range. Pacino is okay at comedy, but not as good as De Niro. De Niro is funny as hell. Even in his first like big comedic role where he really broke out as like, oh man, De Niro's funny, was a movie called Midnight Run. Came out in like 88, I think. Him and Charles Grodin. Absolutely amazing performance. I mean, just super funny in it, but still a tough guy. Favorite De Niro performance? Well, for Pacino, it's Godfather 2, if I didn't say that. Scartech, yes, De Niro's darker. Yes, De Niro also plays the psychopath. I don't think I think De Niro could do, here's the way I put it. De Niro could do most of Pacino's roles. Pacino could not do a lot of like picture Al Pacino in Taxi Driver. Just doesn't work. Just doesn't work. Um, Favorite De Niro movie? I gotta go Goodfellas. I mean, I know Taxi Driver, Godfather Part Two. I mean, there's so many great performances. Raging Bull, Deer Hunter, but his performance in Goodfellas, I think it was like his zenith. I think it's where everything just came together, and like all those. I mean, it's just such an amazing performance for me. All right, I'm gonna kind of like go through these quickly because my voice is going. It's been over 2 hours. I still want to thank, of course, Piercing by John Alonzo and Elena G for the super chats. Thank you so much. If you want to drop a super chat, really appreciate it. Robert Downey Jr., definite superstar, even before Iron Man. My favorite performance by Robert Downey Jr. Is probably, I know most people will be like, of course, it's Iron Man. No. Him playing Charlie Chaplin in the movie Chaplin, I thought was absolutely fantastic. I know Al Pacino won the Oscar that year for Scent of a Woman. It was one of those delayed Oscars. But I think Downey deserved it. Robert Duvall. Robert Duvall is a definite superstar. He's teetering on a supernova. A lot of people really kind of forget him because, again, he came in that 70s era when you had, Pacino, De Niro, Hoffman. He kind of got lost in the shuffle there. But favorite, definitely The Godfather. I mean, him as Tom Hagen is iconic. Robin Williams. My heart, man. My heart still, I mean, I still can't watch a Robin Williams movie because I just miss him so much. But definite movie star. Favorite Robin Williams movie? I mean, I just love him as, I know it's just a voice, but him as the genie in Aladdin. But of course, he won the Oscar for Good Will Hunting. Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe, definitely movie star as well. Favorite Russell Crowe movie? I gotta go Gladiator, man. Maximus Decimus Meridius. Sally Field. Sally Field, definite movie star. I loved her in Forrest Gump as the mom. She was also great in what was it, Coal Miner's Daughter? Or was that somebody else in that? I don't know. Oh God, Scarlett Johansson. I put her at a star. I mean, she's definitely like a movie star when you watch her on screen, but I don't think she's quite a movie star. She's a good actress, but that's about it. Ian McKellen. Ian McKellen is a definite movie star. Favorite? I mean, Lord of the Rings, man. I mean, come on, it's Gandalf. Sean Connery, an iconic man, uh, who was a well-known and terrible abuser. Um, Pretty one-dimensional. I mean, of course, he's iconic. He's James Bond. Um, he was great in The Untouchables, which he won his Oscar for. He's not a superstar, although he would be for most people. But I put Sean Connery at movie star. Um, Sean Connery was, yes, he was amazing in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I agree. My favorite Indiana Jones movie. The original Bond, actually, he was not the original Bond. Um, Somebody else, I forget who it was. His name escapes me. But there was somebody else who played Bond, but he's not famous. It's kind of like one of those trivia things, but he is the original Bond because he's the one who put it on the map. Kind of like Michael Jackson didn't invent the moonwalk, but come on. Without Michael Jackson, the moonwalk's not a big deal. Sean Penn. Sean Penn is one of the most annoying people on the face of this earth, but an amazing actor. Definite movie star. Favorite Sean Penn performance for me is Mystic River. I thought he was amazing in Mystic River. I think Mystic River is a very underrated movie. The great Sidney Poitier. Sidney Poitier is a supernova. A lot of people don't. I mean, he was Denzel before Denzel. I mean, Sidney Poitier was the man. Revolutionized the movie industry as a black man. First African American man to win the Best Actor Oscar. Just an amazing icon. My favorite Sidney Poitier movie. Toss up between Guess Who's Coming to Dinner and To Sir with Love. And I'm going to go with To Sir with Love. Just because I'm a teacher. Sigourney Weaver. Not a big fan of Sigourney Weaver, but I do recognize her impact on movies. She's not a great actress, but what she did for females as far as, playing Ripley in Aliens, showing that women could be action stars and the leads in those movies. I mean, that's not something to sneeze at. The great Michael Caine. Michael Caine is a superstar, especially his movies in the 70s, The Original Italian Job, Harry, from that to Harry Crane. I mean, just an amazing actor. Favorite movie with Michael Caine? I gotta go with. I mean, it's not his best performance, but it's just such a great movie. Is him and Steve Martin in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. I just love that movie. It has a place in my heart. Next on the list is this guy. I know the face. He's that guy. I know him. I know he was in The Crow, but he doesn't belong on this list. I have no clue why the hell he's on this list. Spencer Tracy. Spencer Tracy. A supernova. Just an effortless. I mean, everything he did just seemed so easy. He is the first and one of only two people that have won back-to-back Oscars, the other being Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks won in 92 and 93 for Philadelphia and Forrest Gump. Spencer won for Boys Town, and I forget the other movie. My favorite Spencer Tracy, I've mentioned it a few times. It was the same thing for Katharine Hepburn. But Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? But he was also great in Judgment in Nuremberg. Just an amazing, amazing actor. Way too early, but he is a good actor, and he could do funny. He could do drama. I think it's too early, though. Just like Eddie Redmayne. No, I think he's already a movie star. At first, I really wasn't into him, but the more that Boys Town and Captain Courageous. Thank you so much, Noah. Yeah, definitely movie star. Oh God, I know who this is, but I forgot her name. Somebody help me out, please. Steve McQueen. Oh, Steve McQueen. Steve McQueen is an icon, of course, but most people recognize that he was very one-dimensional. But he is he's the king of cool, man. He's Steve McQueen. So he's not quite a supernova, but he is a superstar. Sylvester Stallone. All right, this is going to be a hot take. I think Sylvester Stallone is actually a really good actor. But he was more interested in the money. So he went for all those action roles. But again, don't forget, He created two of the biggest franchises. I mean, the original Rocky is an amazing movie. I mean, I know the sequels kind of, watered it down, but the first Rocky movie, I mean, it won Best Picture and he was nominated for Best Actor. And I think low key, he's an excellent actor who just never got the opportunities to really show his range. But he's a movie star. I mean, Rocky, Rambo alone. I mean, two of the biggest franchises. And even the first Rambo movie, First Blood, I mean, he gives an amazing performance in that movie. The first unknown woman, maybe Marion. No, she looks too young. Tim Roth. Again, not a big fan of Tim Roth. His best performance, Reservoir Dogs. He's never really been a lead in a movie. He's a star. I put him at star. Tom Cruise. I know for some people this may be a hot take. Guy's a supernova. Tom Cruise has been holding it down since the 80s. I mean, let's take a look here. Whenever anyone fights me on this, let's take a look at every single decade. This man is in some of the greatest movies of all times. Let's go all the way back to the 80s, right? So 80s, he busts on the scene in Risky Business. Taps was a pretty good movie as well, but Risky Business puts him on the map. Then he does All the Right Moves, Top Gun, Color of Money, Cocktail, Young Guns, Rain Man. And he closes out the decade with Born on the 4th of July. And that's just the 80s. 90s, Days of Thunder, Far and Away, A Few Good Men, The Firm, Interview with a Vampire, The First Mission Impossible, Jerry Maguire, Eyes Wide Shut, and he finishes off the decade with Magnolia. The 2000s, Mission Impossible 2, Vanilla Sky, Minority Report, such an underrated movie. Last Samurai, another great performance. Collateral, fantastic. War of the Worlds, not that good. Mission Impossible 3, he was funny for the few minutes he was in. Tropic Thunder, Valkyrie, he was great. Another Mission Impossible, of course. Then the 2010s, Rock of Ages, Fight Me. I thought it was a funny movie. Jack Reacher was a great performance. Oblivion was great. Edge of Tomorrow was fantastic. Another Mission Impossible movie. The sequel to Jack Reacher, not that great. The Mummy was not good, yeah. American Made was funny. And then he does Fallout and just did Top Gun Maverick. I haven't seen it yet, but the reviews are hot. Got an 8.6 rating. And I heard just good things about it. So tell me, anybody else? There's one person who rivals him. We haven't gotten to him yet. But Tom Cruise, Fight Me, Supernova. I don't care about the Scientology and all that other stuff. But, I mean, just an amazing actor. The only thing I hold against him is the man does not know how to run in movies, and he runs in every single movie. I don't know why, but he runs in every single movie he does. But it's almost like not human when he does it. I don't know. That's the only. Okay, Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks, Supernova, no discussion. For me, I think Tom Hanks has the best run of any actor in history. Now, Pacino had an amazing run in the 70s, but from 90, what was it, 92? Oh, actor. Yeah, that's what I care about. I don't care about anything else. Now, like I said, in the 80s, Chloe Giuliani, thank you for the $2 super chat. Really appreciate it. The Postman Always Rings Twice. Nicholson and yes, good movie. Actually, a remake of a movie that came out. I think it was in the 50s. But anyway, so like I said, Tom Hanks and Michael Keaton were kind of like on even keel. Um, Tom Hanks starts off as a comedian in a TV series called Bosom Buddies. Then he does some TV shows, and Splash is what really puts him on the map. Um, and then he does some more comedies: Bachelor Party, The Man with One Red Shoe, The Money Pit, Nothing in Common, which was Jackie Gleason's last movie, Dragnet with Dan Aykroyd, and then he does Big, and Big made him big. If you haven't seen Big, please see it. Then he had Punchline was not good. The Burbs was Turner and Hooch. I love only because I love any movie where it's about a cop and his partner is a dog. Joe versus the Volcano and Bonfire of the Vanities were famous bombs. But then he does A League of Their Own. And that really brings him back into the conversation. But then he does Sleepless in Seattle, Philadelphia, which he wins the Oscar for, Forrest Gump, which he wins the Oscar for, Apollo 13, Toy Story, That Thing You Do, Saving Private Ryan, You Got Mail, Toy Story 2, Green Mile, Castaway, Road to Perdition, Catch Me If You Can, Lady Killers, that was a kind of slip. The Terminal, a very underrated movie. Then he does a couple of kids' movies, Polar Express, Cars. Da Vinci Code, not that good. But for 10 years, he has, like, the greatest run, I think, of any actor. I mean, from 92 to 2002. Just absolutely amazing run. And, you know, he's done a lot of good stuff since as well. He was good in Saving Mr. Banks, Bridge of Spies, Sully, etc., etc. So Tom Hanks, definite S tier. Supernova. Well, Supernova is actually like super S tier. Superstar is S tier. Favorite Tom Hanks movie? Forrest Gump. I mean, Forrest Gump is so good, but Saving Private Ryan, it's a toss-up. Tom Hardy. Now, Tom Hardy also falls into that category, that Ed Norton category of an actor who should be much bigger than he is. Like he should be a more I know he's made a comeback with the Venom movies, but if you look at some of his earlier stuff like Bronson, Tom Hardy is like a superstar who doesn't feel like a superstar, but I'm still putting him at superstar because his acting abilities are amazing. He just really hasn't had a chance to flex his muscles yet as an actor. Tommy Lee Jones. Favorite Tommy Lee Jones, Men in Black. Just love him in Men in Black. He was like so unexpectedly funny, but dry. Like a dry funny. Like him and Will Smith were perfect together. Tommy is a definite movie star. We're getting down to it. I am surprised. Like off top of my head, number one, that Gene Hackman isn't on this list. Sir Laurence Olivier, one of the greatest actors of all time. I don't know, kind of weird. Let me know in the comment section or in the chat who else is missing on that. Uma Thurman. Favorite Uma Thurman, Kill Bill. I put Uma Thurman at movie star. I forgot his name as well. Favorite movie with him? It's a toss-up between A History of Violence and what was the other movie that he played in where he played a Russian gangster? I forget his name. Somebody in chat will probably help me out. definite movie star. Vin Diesel. I mean, again, I love Vin Diesel. I love the Fast and Furious movies, but when we talk about acting specifically, come on. John Huston. I mean, John Huston was serviceable, but John Huston is more a director, which is the same thing for Woody Allen. I know Woody Allen put himself in a lot of his own movies, but nobody put Woody Allen in their movies except for Woody Allen. Woody Allen is a great director, but when we're talking about acting, I mean, why? Will Smith, I know some controversy, of course, after living like the cleanest life. But Will Smith is a superstar, of course. Favorite Will Smith movie? Toss up between Bad Boys and Men in Black. I don't know. Pick them. Let's see. Scartech, Pierce Brosnan, Timothy Dalton, Patrick Stewart. No, Patrick Stewart was on the list. Christopher Lee, I agree. Christopher Lee should have been on the list. Alan Rickman. Idris Elba, yes, definitely. Jude Law. Definitely. All right, that's the list. Agree with it? Don't agree with it? It's my opinion, right? So again, I want to thank Elena G. I want to thank Piercing by John Alonzo, and I want to thank Chloe Giuliani for the super chats. It's been fun, fam. It's been 2.5 hours. All right, hey. At least it didn't last 4.5 hours like the basketball one. But my voice is going, so I'm going. I had a lot of fun with you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for the support. And I will catch you next time. Somebody wants to say goodbye.
I will see you later.
I thought you were going to say, I'm going to see you in your dreams.
And I'm going to haunt you.
Oh.
In your dreams.
Oh.
Not tonight, but maybe.
Okay. See you later. Fame.